All right. Good morning, everybody. It's another Monday. I'm so excited today. My name is Elaine Adams, aka Stock Mom, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Stockhouse U Pre-Market Show. I designed this show to be helpful for anybody getting ready to enter the market today who wants a little bit of an edge. Here's what we do here. We talk about the futures. We talk about indices, ETFs, individual stocks, news, our trades, both good and bad, and trading psychology. If you want to talk on stage, you're more than welcome. Just raise your hand. We're not out here giving out financial advice. We're actually just a group of friends that love talking about stocks. And if we can help you with anything, it's with understanding why it is we do what we do. I'm joined by some of my favorite people: Christopher, Vanessa, Liv, Daniel, Marcus, Shivam, Fahim. Oh man, we got a nice fucking crowd today. This is going to be a good one. Normally, we like to start our days off with a quote. And I'm now going to insert like a 4 quote limit because that's not what we're here for. But I do kind of just like to start it off with some motivation. And so I'll go and then I'll let other people introduce themselves and talk about a quote as well. So I'll go first. My quote today is by Robert Ria, and it goes like this: no profession requires more hard work, intelligence, patience, and mental discipline than successful speculation. Now, one thing I've always been concerned about doing these stock rooms and just doing a room in general talking about stocks is that there's a bias. We all have inherent biases towards things that have been profitable for us, things that we like. I mean, there's a reason why I don't trade crypto companies all that much. I really want crypto to be successful. I have a bias there, and sometimes I'll buy things before it's a good opportunity. I think that we have changed this show to try to combat some of that, but it still takes discipline. It definitely takes a lot of work, and I hope that we're all kind of just aware of the fact that in doing this, we can either help or we can hurt by adding, too much of a personal spin on the things that we're looking at. So yeah, I guess the whole point behind that is just saying I want to have a show that will help you and add value without giving you any of our biases or what we want to happen. We read the charts, we talk about the news, and we keep it straightforward. I'm Elaine Adams, and I'm done speaking. Christopher, good morning. Do you have a quote for us?
Good morning, and absolutely I do. And you guys know how I get down. I'm glad again that we're here once again on a Monday morning. Everybody that came out yesterday to the DD room, I appreciate you, Marcus, Vanessa, Elaine, everybody that came in per usual and just kind of participated in what we were planning for today. I appreciate you guys. Um, so here's my quote. Of course, I'm going to dedicate it to the fact that we do this every day and we kind of use each other to help building our skill sets and our knowledge base, and how I'm so appreciative of that. So we cannot solve problems with the kind of thinking we employed when we came up with them. Um, and you know what? I was kind of inspired, especially looking at your bio on Twitter the other day, Elaine. And I never thought it would be like this. And this kind of came together organically, and it's grown into something like inspirational and something that we give to everybody every day. And I just want to continue to give and continue to, do what we do on a daily basis. Thanks for being here, everybody, and let's do it.
Vanessa, good morning. Do you have a quote for us today?
Good morning. I like that what Chris said about your Twitter. I might steal it and put it on my Instagram. But anyways, my quote for the morning is success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. Success comes from what you do consistently. Which it's pretty self-explanatory. Be consistent in everything that you do because nothing worth having is easy. Even when it comes to socks, we called it Easy Money Mondays, but there's no easy money out here. Like everything you got to work for. So that's all I have to say. My name's Vanessa, and I'm done speaking.
Oh man, if they weren't awake, they'll be awake now. Yeah, I totally agree. The name was kind of a joke, but it is a Money Monday for sure. I don't know about Easy Money Mondays though. Good morning, Liv. Do you have a quote for us?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I do. It's entrepreneurs are great at dealing with uncertainty and also very good at minimizing risk. This is from Monish Pabrari. I can't say his name right, but I like the quote because it's like parallel with stock traders. You have to be really good at knowing that, hey, the stock I'm going into could not succeed, but when you do phenomenal DD and you look into the history of the stock that you're investing in, and you know what the future can outline when the stock reaches its potential, you will trade with the idea that I'm trading for a future and for an investment to succeed because I believe in myself. But also, you'll minimize the risk of losses when you actually trade on intentfulness. So, yeah.
I like that. I just wanted to throw out there, I haven't had my coffee yet. I wanted to say my quote was Albert Einstein. Go ahead, Elaine.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that as well. We talk about trading with a plan a lot. Shivam, good morning. I hate to put you on the spot. I know we didn't talk about this. Do you have a quote, or do you want to just introduce yourself and your trading style?
Good morning, Elaine. I think no, I have one, and I'm going to get this one from Friday Night Lights, Coach Taylor. I said you need to strive to be better than everyone else. I didn't say you need to be better than everyone else, but you got to try. That's what character is. It's in the try.
Fire.
Fire. Yeah, that's a good one. You win for today, man. That's definitely the one. Um, Everybody else on stage. Daniel, Marcus, Fahim, Alec. Daniel, good morning.
Morning, Elaine. Morning, everyone. Good to see you all, as always. Hopefully, you all had a great weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I actually do have a quote by Robert Arnault.
Ooh,
It's real simple, and it goes with what Shivam and some other people are saying. In investing, what is comfortable is rarely profitable. So you do have to put some work into it. And it may seem uncomfortable, but obviously it ends up being profitable if it's done right.
love
I'm
that.
done.
Love that. Fahim, good morning.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, man.
Great. Yeah, no quotes here. Just just here, just to listen more or less.
We're always excited to have you on stage. It's all good. Daniel, good morning.
How you doing? Yeah, I don't have a quote either. I could give you some bars, but I'm not going to.
Save the bars for an aftermarket moment. All right. Well, with that said, let's bust into these futures, y'all.
S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, where all the old money stashed at. Bet you ain't no square on Cash App. Stock, name an asset that could match.
Okay. So, I mean, come on. There's only one place to start, and that's where we want to be, the NASDAQ. You guys, is tech going to have a big day today? Is the 10-year yield finally down far enough now? I mean, I guess I could start with the 10-year yield because you can't talk about one without the other anymore. The 10-year yield is down 2.66% from Friday's close. This has been one of the larger percentage changes over between two market periods that I've seen in quite some time, actually. And we closed at 1.7%, and we're sitting right now at 1.6. So I'm really feeling that. And on the other side, in the NASDAQ, we are seeing some growth here, and we're up 0.66%. Now, we were actually up a little bit farther earlier into the morning, but I'm not really concerned about that yet. So on the 18th, we had a fairly large red day. We had a pretty big pullback, and we pulled back in. Oh, by the way, everybody, I did post all of our futures charts as well as a daily briefing on all of our social media accounts. So if you want to know what earnings are going on today, if you would like to, let's see, what else did I put on there? I put
Catalyst
earnings.
for the day.
Thank you. I put economic catalyst, as in our existing home sales numbers, which are coming out pretty soon. I put like actual market catalysts where we have a couple of meetings. Jerome Powell's supposed to be speaking today. And I don't know, just something that'll get your head right for anything to be looking forward to. So I put all that stuff out.
Yeah, those look really nice. Shout out to you.
Thanks, Daniel. And I also shared our futures chart so you can look at this with me. So I have two zones on our NASDAQ, and I've kind of drawn them on most of my futures charts, actually. And the bottom one I'm going to call a demand zone, and the top we're going to call a supply zone. Now, what are the characteristics of a demand zone? Well, it's kind of like a support, but it's a region as opposed to just a single line. Now, that does not mean that I always expect this to be validated, but like recently, we've actually seen this demand zone validated. When the price gets here, people seem like they're comfortable to buy. So on Friday, we touched into this 12,700 kind of region. We held. We also held right above our 100-day moving average. These are things I like to see. And we're currently making a leg up. Now, in order for me to go and say we're not going to have, just an inside day, I would love to see us break over this 13,180 level on our NASDAQ futures. And if we can hold above that, that will actually put us right back into the uptrend that we've sort of been enjoying since November and really since our recovery in March. Um, but that's very wishful thinking. But that's where I'm at right now. So I have this low side of 12,700, which I would love to see validated as a support region. And I have a high side of 13,180, which I would love to see us break, which will take us past our largest red day open so far. That's where we're at on the NASDAQ. And personally, I'm feeling really good seeing about the 10-year bonds. I'm also feeling kind of good just in general, seeing some of the stocks that are up this morning, specifically in our solar energy sector, which is kind of nice. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Moving on through the charts. So our S&P 500 /ES futures. Let's see here. So as we know, we're in a little bit of a different place. In the S&P 500, only 3 days ago, we were sitting at all-time highs. And that's an important thing to note. Whereas on the NASDAQ, we are sort of in the middle of a trend and really trying to capture into our uptrend. Our S&P is waiting for a breakout. I would call this basically a failed breakout that's happened between last week and now. And that's okay. These are things that we expect to happen. If I expect a breakout to really hold through, I would love to see the volume spike. And we are seeing volume at least constant and heading towards the upside. So this is something I would like to continue seeing on our buying days and volume down on our selling days, whereas it seems to be fairly consistent right now. With that said, I have both the demand and supply zone on this as well. And so my demand zone, the place where I hope that the price does not go any lower, is around the 3,862 level. And on the upside, our supply zone, the place where I've seen the price kind of get rejected and stay under, is at 3,933, almost moving into 3,950, basically. And that's where we were at last week, just sitting above there. Now, really honestly, because we're still waiting on a little bit of economic news and because I'm not sure. I think that we're going to need a little bit of a catalyst to smack us straight into all-time highs and get us to that 400 level on SPY, the 4,000 level on our S&P 500 futures. I would just like to see this range respected, to be honest. I'd like to see us hold. We are sitting right now on our 20-day moving average, which sits at 3,884, and I'd love to see us continue to hold that. Right? The difference between a bearish and a bullish retracement is that you don't have your moving averages crossing over each other. So I'm okay with where we're at right now. The 20 moving average hasn't crossed the 50 hasn't crossed the 100, and so on and so forth. And I'll just go one last one. Oh, hey, Liv, were you going to do the Russell today, actually? All right.
Right, so I was going to do XOK and XOV, and then I was going to go over SPY.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'll keep going. So looking at the Russell, and small caps has been hit kind of fairly hard. We've also been trading in that 2,200 to 2,300 range for quite some time now. Last week on the 15th, we did break out of the 12th. We did break out of that region, and for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we sat above 2,300. And now we once again have gotten rejected. So we're seeing the same moves that happened in the S&P 500, where we sat at all-time highs and were then rejected, but not so far that we broke any key supports, not so far that we have crossed any moving averages lines. We've just taken a little bit of a pullback off of all-time highs because we didn't have the momentum and volume to keep us pushing, and that's okay. I still would call this a very bullish retracement so far. So we closed on Friday at 227 to 2,279, and we're open right now at 2,277. So once again, a little bit of a doji as we begin to start our day, showing some indecision, but I'm hopeful that as we see the 10-year yields go down, as we see a little bit of market exuberance, people's stimulus checks are hitting, Bitcoin's down for the day. All of these things make me fairly excited to see what the market has in store for us. And so my activation levels will be very consistent for this. Also, we are sitting on top of our 20-day moving average yet again, and that is at 2,260. So as long as we hold above our 20-day moving average, that's that's a fairly decent sign of momentum, as it's a fairly fast moving average. Right. So as long as we're staying over our 2,200 level and approaching this 2,300 level, I'll consider that an awesome range trade. I'm looking to hit 2,300 and maybe take a little bit of a pullback as we um, establish higher support and gain momentum and consolidate towards the top of this pattern. Anyways, Christopher, do you want to go ahead and talk about oil futures today?
Yeah, definitely. But first thing I want to address, of course, we've got to talk about the Aramco news before we get into this, because a lot of people are going to know why. So I'm just going to hit the three main points here real quick, and then I'll go over the futures real quick, and then I'll pass the mic. So first thing, Saudi Aramco reported a 44% collapse in a full year earnings as the coronavirus punched the global economy, oil prices, volumes, and refining margins. Okay. Also, Aramco declared a dividend still of 75 billion and remains one of the world's most profitable companies. So, despite the attacks and everything of last week, the CEO says we remain confident that we will emerge on the other side of the pandemic in a position of strength. And so they came out and basically said that their number one priority. Hold on, give me 1 second. Was sorry, it is. Where did I see it at? Right here. There it is. The number one priority is ensuring China's energy security remains highest priority for the next 50 years. And so after that, Goldman Sachs also gave oil a price target of $80, which we've been talking about for a while. But we also said that it's gonna have to consolidate for a little bit before it gets the next leg up to those ranges. And so what we're looking at in crude oil futures right now is a slight downtick, and of course we have the reasons why. I'm thinking if it breaks below 61, that we could be looking into the 60.59 range. But I do see it could hold solid there. As opposed, Brent oil is actually up, and Brent oil of course, could hold in that 64 to 64.25 range. But if it breaks below 64, we could be looking at it could go down as far as the 62.58 level. And that's what I see at the moment in oil.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Christopher. I think you have a fairly good eye on some of the things I also was concerned about their Aramco earnings, as that was just one of the major Saudi oil companies. And yeah, we are in a bit of a consolidation period. So I'm not going to repeat you. I think that's a great take. Anybody else looking at oil or the futures? You have something you want to throw in there? And if not, we'll keep it moving. Okay. So with that said, now, every other day, we'll do trash trades. And then on certain days, we say treat yourself because we want to know how you're feeling, how you're taking care of yourself. Tell us about your good trades. But on Mondays, especially a Monday like this where the market might be right, we have a segment called By the Dip. Okay, so I'll start because I probably I'm going to choose the easiest one maybe. If there's any dip that I'm looking for right now, and I wouldn't even call this a dip, this is really more of a momentum moment, but I'll take it. Kathy Woods is the new Trump pump. This woman pumps stocks like nobody's business. And no disrespect towards her or her personage will be tolerated on this stage. With that said, anybody who has the panache to give Tesla a $3,000 price target for 2024 on the medium side, hey, guess what? I'm looking to see what Tesla's price action does. Looking at it at 600s, I mean, in terms of momentum and like the point of control where people are willing to sit inside of this stock, 620 is a decent price. And honestly, just off of this pump, just off of her talking about it, I truly honestly do expect it to hit 700 today. based off of purely nothing but hype. No new news has come out on the Tesla side, or at least that I know of. Her saying that she fully expects autonomous vehicles to be a thing by 2024 is extremely quick. I don't know that I even agree with it, but she said it, and a lot of people move when she says stuff. So I'm going to be watching Tesla pretty hard today, at least first thing in the morning. That's me. What are you guys looking at for the dip today?
You right?
Yeah, I was just going to agree with you, Elaine. And I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, didn't they give that evaluation based on, she didn't even include like the solar technology or the battery stuff in that evaluation, which to me seems, and I'm a big Kathy Woods fan, but that seems kind of crazy.
Hey, that's starting to sound like disrespect, Alex. You know we don't tolerate Stop you right there. No. I thought it was extreme as well. But you know what? I haven't actually listened to the whole call yet that she was on, and I'm curious to understand why, for sure. I'm with you. It was very questionable. But with that said, I think the confidence in autonomous, and she called it robotaxi, right? Robo-taxi fleet. This is something that we've talked about on the stage a lot. The fact that she's bullish on that by 2020, I mean, that's in 3 years and change. To imagine that we'll be having fleets of self-driven taxis by then is kind of bonkers, you know? I mean, for a kid, that's an entire high school experience, but for adults, like 4 years goes like that. So I'm kind of excited, looking forward to it. Anybody else looking at anything on the dip? Christopher.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually gonna start playing travel again in the reopenings, but I know there's conflicting, information about lockdowns, and so I'm hoping that I get a little bit of a dip because while we also have lockdowns, U.S. air travel passengers also topped 1.5 million Sunday for the first time since March. So people are out there and people are traveling, and so I'm looking at AAL save for potential dip buys for a potential swing into the travel season.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the plans and how to do those valuations on companies that just have so much debt and also such a high burn rate. But I'm with you. I don't know. How do you feel about that with regards to, like, I mean, the U.S. just cleared the AstraZeneca, or I believe, I'll double check my news. They definitely had positive testing results on the AstraZeneca vaccine, whereas I feel like the UK is holding off on it because of, what was it, blood clots, and reports on that, and then the Paris lockdown, the second largest economy in that region. Does any of that affect how you're feeling about travel, specifically in our short term future?
No, that's exactly why I'm looking for that news right now to create the dip so that I can buy it because people in the US are still traveling. And as long as I can get those local flights, I can get something out of that. I'll take it for a short term swing.
I
Yeah,
like
there
it.
was just a tweet saying that we have just reached a pivotal point in the most travels in the U.S. since COVID on airlines. It's by Walter Bloomberg. Hold on a second, I'll find it.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Tulum.
I like it.
And it might even be the whole sector, like Airbnb. I might take a look over there if I can find some decent catalyst other than travel.
Well, I was reading, and I know it's not time for the news or whatever, but I was reading an article this morning about Carnival and the cruise ships, and they still have the CDC still has standards on it that kind of makes it impossible to sail. And the article was implying that they may not sail this summer. So you might want to, I mean, I guess maybe you can buy the dip. And I
Yeah,
think
local.
I think Disney's down a little bit because of it too. And I'm bullish on Disney because of the streaming and not so much about like the traveling and stuff.
I mean, like, if you want to talk about local travel, I feel like American Airlines primarily has domestic flights, and they're one of the hardest hit, least likely to recover airlines just based off of their humongous burn rate and their terrible, um, financials. So it is a tricky one because you want to buy the dip. I'm with you on the dip, and I'm even looking to. I like your logic of saying, we are going to see some dip right now because the news isn't fantastic, but we definitely also have to think about the consolidation of some of these companies, and just the fact that not everything is going to be here in 5 years. I know you're a little bit of a short-term swing trader, so it's just something to think about for sure. Anybody
No,
else?
Wait, I
Go ahead.
totally agree with that because I do think that certain stocks won't have like the same highs as they did in the past, and they're not going to go back to what people think they are. So I definitely think that should be taken into consideration when buying the dip.
So, did you guys already talk about Square and the Cash App hack?
Go ahead. I mean, we're not at the
Oh
news
no.
point yet, but go ahead because they'll
No,
break
no.
us off. That's good
Oh,
stuff.
well, I wasn't really. I was talking about because I'm just going to watch the price action on Square and see if it's up right now pre-market. But if it goes down quite a bit, that might be a buying opportunity for me. But just for people who haven't heard, that over the weekend, Cash App was hacked and some users' accounts were completely drained of every dollar, cash, stock, and bitcoins out of the accounts linked to Cash App. And so I'm just trying to see what kind of fallout, if any, is going to happen as a result of that.
I just want to say, how many times in those beginner rooms do we say, please get your money off of Cash App? Okay, y'all go ahead. I know everybody kind of went off
Well,
mute because that's huge, but go ahead.
it is
Yeah,
huge. We all want to talk. All
that's
right, I
crazy.
will say this though. Square is like that's the one that we've been looking at because of NFTs, because of crypto, and the fact that they lost the Bitcoin, like even the cash that can come back, I think, but the Bitcoin, that's gone forever. I am very curious as to how the crypto people are going to respond to a
Why are they
safety
up
thing.
in pre-market? They're up 1%. That's weird. Square is, sorry.
That's very strange.
Yeah,
I don't.
Is it? I mean, is it like
No, it is
it's
strange. Why would it be up? I mean, at the same time, no. Why would it be up? That is a fantastic question.
Talk that big,
okay,
talk
okay,
that
okay?
big,
Because here's the thing.
talk that big brain shit, Chris.
Here's the thing, right? It's not necessarily a big brain thing, right? But it's just the opportunity, like Cazell said, like it's a dip buy. Like if this thing were to drop even a little bit on some news, people are scooping it because of the future, right? Like Square just built a bank, so they have the financial backing to cover anything that they just lost, right? We're looking at 3, 4, 5 years down the line, Square. It's not a short term play, and anybody selling off, I'm buying. And so are so many other people. So the fact that it goes up on news, even if it's negative, is not surprising to me because as soon as you sell it, there are limits ready to fill.
So I think the reason it's up is because Jack Dorsey's tweet. That's why people are buying it. Um, so that's what it is.
All right, let's keep it moving. This has been a good side story though. I guess if you're buying Square on the dip, go for it. I don't even want to keep on going. Let's do a quick
And
refresh.
that's not financial advice.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first place every morning you should stop to get your stock market news. That's right, I'm talking about the morning show presented by Stockhouse University. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. This is a conversation amongst friends that love talking about stocks and want to improve our profitability by coming here every day, talking about the market, relevant news, and how we're going to use that information to be profitable. We think education should be accessible and affordable to everyone, so we have a free Discord that has tons of resources and over 1,800 amazing members at all different skill levels that are also talking about the market, and they're trying to grow as well. We also do free classes on Sundays, and we would love it if you would join that community and contribute because together we are so much more powerful than we are individually. Invite your friends, invite your family. Let's all create opportunities for generational wealth. Also, if you like the conversations that we have here, make sure to click the greenhouse on the top and join the community. We'd love to continue the conversations, and we would love it if you guys would contribute every time we're on stage, not just in the Stockhouse U family. Thank you.
All right. You know what, Liv? I'd love it if you start this section off. We're going to do a little bit of talk about the sector ETFs. Go for it, man.
Awesome. Right. So I was just looking at the levels for XLV. And personally, for me, last week wasn't really that much of a move. I was kind of disappointed, especially with news that we got during the week in XLV. So the range that we saw was typically from around 113. And to specify, this is starting 3/15th, so Monday of last week. The range was 114 through 116, and we've been kind of tunneling there. This is, of course, coming back from being 109 around the 4th of March. And right now in pre-market, we are at 194. So like Elaine said, my supply zone, which is where I'm seeing prices dip to a lot, would be around 114.76. And then my demand zone where I'd like it to be would be 117. And the reason I'm shooting so high with that is simply because there's a lot of news and information going on in the pharma sector. Like today alone, we have a company called uh, DYAI. It's Dyadic and Meditox. They're joining forces to start developing COVID vaccines. Now, like I said, I would like to see XOV get a little bit more respect in terms of price than what it currently is priced at. And moving on to tech, so XOK, last week, the 15th, we started around 131. Unfortunately, we did get pretty high up midweek around the 17th of March, and we were at 134, which was a pretty good movement. What happened the rest of the week, however, is we kind of crashed back down to 129, pretty much erasing the gains that we got during the week. Right now, we are in pre-market, so hopefully, the price that we have in pre-market being 130 can stick through and we can create an area of support here. I don't really want it to dip past 130. That would be my preference. And that's pretty much it. The supply zone here would be the 130 that I'm asking for, and the demand zone would be at least 133, so we can continue to trend upward as we move out of this March madness that we're receiving. That's all for me. Thank you, Lane.
Awesome. Yeah, and just so you guys know, like when we talk about XLV, we're just talking about the healthcare sector, right? And XLK is the tech sector. I know you said that, Liv, but I just want to like double down on and at least that, because I have been looking at healthcare as well and saying I think we're in a pretty decent setup. We've built around a lot of support in this region, and there are a number of things other than COVID vaccines going on. There's been a lot of advancement on a lot of levels that. We have a number of FDA approvals. There are actually a number of healthcare catalysts coming up this week that I didn't even include in our list just because there were too many. So I'm with you in looking at that sector and saying there's a lot for potential upside. And same thing with tech. I would love to see us hold at this level and continue to establish a little bit of an uptrend and get past some of the chop that we've seen for the past few weeks. Uh, let's talk about SPY. So on the SPY, I really think we're at a fairly crucial moment. We closed on Friday at 398. We sit here at 390. And 390 to 391 is sort of our base region that I'm looking to establish some support. As we move towards 394 and break above that, I'm starting to look for the upside and the bullishness of the 397, of the 399, and moving into the 400 region. But the real question is, are we going to have the volume and momentum in the market to really get there? Now, some of the biggest movers in the S&P 500, which is like which is like, Tesla, Apple, these sorts of stocks, Microsoft, Google. I'm have had fairly flat weeks recently. I mean, even for a Tesla. And so the real question to get to that higher level, I really want to see some more movement in our large cap stocks, very specifically, to get us to that place that, where we're breaking into all-time highs again. Other than that, I do expect some level of consolidation. I do expect to see a couple of inside days as we move throughout the week, just because I'm not really sure what level of catalyst it's going to take for us to break ahead. And something a lot of people have talked about recently is, hey, what if we don't have this amazing pullback yet? What if we don't smash through all-time highs? What if we just consolidate and trade inside of a range? Now, that 391 to 394 range would be extremely comfortable, but we can also break down the 387, but we can also break down the 378, and we would still be within a consolidation at this point, showing increased levels of volatility, which are also, very endemic of the sort of market that we've been in. And on top of that, it talks a lot about the mindset of the people who are trading, which is we all want things to go up. We're all looking for continued patterns of uptrend, and we expect it at some point to continue up. However, people really aren't waiting for things to fully dip. Square has a huge data breach. It's up in pre-market. Why is that? Because we're buying the dip and we're ready to go. So that it is an interesting market. And those are my levels for SPY. Anybody else looking at SPY with me?
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Uh,
morning.
I, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, in terms of the spread or this range that we've been in, again, we are in that consolidation zone. Yeah, so currently right now, I have a spread with the low being the 387.15 and the high being at 396.72. So I know maybe about a week or two ago we talked about SPY potentially reaching up to 398 in terms of a test. It did do that briefly, right, on Wednesday the 17th. So so that was the test. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, if this thing, if the current 388 levels hold, and maybe we retest. Who knows? Um, what I would say is, if we're going to make any money on this, from a short-term standpoint, the money's made in between the lines. So yeah, so the support levels again being at 388, and then until otherwise, the highest this thing is going to at least retest is going to be our 398 level, on a retest. I would love to see a breakout, but I don't know if we're going to get it. So I agree with you. Consolidation is ultimately maybe going to potentially be the theme now, going forward. So let's see how that plays out.
Absolutely. Hey, AR, you want to talk VIX with me for a second or two? How do
Oh
you feel
yeah.
about that? I'm liking it. I'm not gonna lie. I like seeing VIX do this type of thing.
Hey, listen, that that line that we talked about of the 1266 on the VXX, um, yeah, I mean, it's sitting right on it, and it really looks like it wants to take a further dip. So let's see where our emotions, in terms of uh, where the emotions will carry the market sentiment for the rest of the week. But yeah, I love that 1266 level is a key level right now, and yeah, let's see if it's going to either hold as a double bottom, um, or if it's something that we're just going to continue to go down. And if we continue to go down, yeah, let's not be surprised if we see that SPY spike.
Yeah, and for people kind of looking and wondering how to gauge volatility, which is it's a tricky one, right? This is volatility in itself is something that people will trade entirely. That's it. That's all that they trade, volatility traders. But just an easy way to sort of look at a chart and sort of try to understand the sentiment of it is when we have a down day, a day where we close lower than we open, how is the volume on that day? Are people more excited to sell this stock? Is that volume higher than it is on our buying days where we're taking up? And if so, maybe the market sentiment is to sell off on whatever this underlying asset or equity is, right? And so I am seeing a little bit of volume on the sell days on VIX and any of the volatility indexes specifically. So I too would kind of love to see just a little bit of a pullback, give us some room to run. I don't need to be sitting at these ridiculously high volatility levels forever. And it will give us a little bit more range, I think, in trying to find entries on some of our, favorite stocks because we won't expect them to swing to $1,000, 1,000% one day and 1,000% down the other way. And once again, we have had some amazing earnings, and that's not the story that we're talking about because we are talking about market volatility. We're talking about market sentiment, and we're talking about the 10-year more than I'd like. So I would love a little bit of a return to just some of the things that have held us down in the stock market. And I just want to talk about two things before we get straight to the news because it is news time. So XLY, our consumer discretionary, is another sector that it's part of the reopening trade, right? Consumer discretionary counts for the things that you buy when you have money and you feel comfortable. Now, as we continue to see, more vaccinations coming out, we're also on the other side of that seeing maybe we're not going to see some of our reopening trades or reopening plays play out quite the way, right? I've been looking at Madison Square Garden. I've been been looking at Las Vegas Sands. I've been looking at these places where people will be congregating, and hearing, that Disney's maybe won't be reopening as soon as we thought is something that's going to affect me hopping into those trades. But nonetheless, I'm still looking at them. I'm seeing that they did well on their earnings. I'm seeing that they're talking about their Q3 bookings. And so this is something that gets me excited, as well as the fact that, at least on the kid side, that the CDC said that children can have a 3-foot distance as opposed to 6. So, that makes me feel a little bit hopeful about reopening as well. But here we are. Sorry, in XOY in our consumer discretionary, we've held on this the 50-day moving average, and we're sitting directly underneath our 20-day moving average. So on Friday we closed at 166. We now sit at 167. The 20-day moving average is at 166.77, and I'd love to see us hold above that and start to establish a little bit of a leg up. I personally find that consumer discretionary and tech are where a lot of our biggest growth stocks are, but B is a big part of what I would like to see on the reopening side of that's not a cyclical trade, right? So on one side, I'm looking at industrials, I'm looking at energy. I could even be looking at like materials, right? And on the cyclical side of, hey, I know that people are rotating into value as they're scared of growth. But on the other side, on the growth side of the reopening trade, I am looking at consumer discretionary and tech and saying, if people are exuberant to stay in these categories, if we get any sort of regulation that helps boost this tells me a completely different story about the flavor of reopening and the excitement of the people behind, the trades. So definitely really interested in what's going to happen with XLY and also XLF, our financial sector. So what we had on Friday, which was a big deal, was the SLR revision, where they're saying that they were not going to allow banks basically to hold a lot of money without paying fees on it. So we're going to see where these banks are going to be moving large sums of money into different holdings. Right now, financials has been on fire for the past, I have a really strong uptrend starting in January, but financials in general have done really well. And especially as we've had these days where we see the bond yields rise, financials do well when the bond yields rise because they hold a lot of bonds. And so as the yields rise, we expect them to do good in that type of economic environment. Now, this SLR information does change a little bit, and we saw a little bit of a pullback. We've seen a consolidation for the past about a week or so. We barely just ticked over our 9-day moving average, and we haven't touched the 20-day, which tells us a lot about the momentum that we've been seeing. With that said, I am looking to financials to see if we're going to establish a leg up. We closed on Friday at 34.06. Today we sit at 33.80. I'm looking to see when this dip ends and see if we're going to see a little bit of momentum once again from our financial sectors, as they will be buying. And I don't think that this is any sort of large pullback sort of situation. With that said, let's keep it moving and let's get into the news. Who has news for me today?
There was lots of news today. So basically I was saying because of Jack Dorsey's tweet, I guess he got a lot of bids on his tweet for an NFT, and I think that's why Square is running. Also, I'm sorry guys, I'm driving right now. Does anybody else have news?
New Jersey's pausing reopenings due to more COVID cases.
So I have an interesting one. I think Bank of America's CEO was talking the other day, or maybe today, and he said that the earnings for the banking sector especially should substantially increase from higher interest rate, which makes sense, because there is a large waste of low cost deposits, right? So that's going to go up, and higher yielding loans will be great for them. That is there. However, the sentiment of the market, which can be seen from the quad witching and all the stuff, the overall roll which we had on Friday, and the amount of buys which was taken place, and mostly by banks in the last hour of the market, it seems like the bank will still be in the recovery mode, even if the yields are relatively going up. So that's something which Bank of America CEO, he was very bullish about the overall banking community.
Guys, there was also some other news over the weekend, and I just kind of want to know if anybody other than me is absolutely not taking it seriously, but also what it can mean for the market. Donald Trump is creating his own social media platform because he's banned everywhere else.
I
That
see
was
that.
expected. That was expected.
Yeah, we don't care. Just kidding. I mean,
Okay,
hey, if he
yeah,
gets
yeah, we don't care.
well, if he gets on any social media and starts pumping stocks, yeah, but we noticed like near the end of his presidency,
What
his
if his
tweets weren't even
platform goes
moving the
IPO?
market. Oh, who
What if his
cares?
platform goes IPO?
Do you guys think that people are investing in an IPO on like a social media for one person, basically?
No.
Oh,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
it's
so.
2021. I don't know anymore. But I have other news. um, I was
Go
going to
for it.
say AstraZeneca, the company that was being slandered last week for their, um, well, they were tied to a death and they've been having issues in France. And today, a news article came out saying that their vaccine is 79% effective and there's no increased risk of blood clots, which is the issue that a lot of people are having. Now, how this will veer for the stock, I'm not too sure because there's it's only been one trial by Oxford, University of Oxford, saying this. So hopefully, in the coming days, we'll see more trials and research on this. Because if you keep in mind, Moderna is the leading sector for this. I mean, leading stock for this. They have a 94% efficiency. So
Yeah. Also, in addition to that, didn't Europe block them? Are they going to or something like that?
yeah, so they were like blacklisted, and they were stopped from like being administered. So that's why I'm a little bit going to be following this as the week goes on to see if they get back their approval or if people are
Isn't it
still gonna be scared.
ridiculous? The
Yeah.
things in like in the US were like, yeah, go ahead, put that in people. 79%, that works just fine. And then like in the UK, they're like, this is killing people. We definitely don't. We want to do some more testing. Yeah, I'm looking at both of those storylines, extremely perturbed as well. On the other side, Applied Materials in our semiconductor sector, we're supposed to have a merger, or sorry, an acquisition with a company called Kokusai Electric. And it looks like they've terminated that after missing the deadline for they didn't receive confirmation of timely approval prior to March 26th, deadline for payment of the termination fee. So the company will treat the agreement as terminated and pay KKR a termination fee of $154 million in cash. Applied Materials is one of the semiconductor stocks that I sort of look at, so I'll be looking for a price reaction according to this. Also, we had Dave and Buster's get a price target from, sorry, I don't remember which analyst. But people are expecting it to be a reopening play, just like many of the other ones. Yum, Wendy's. We can pick one down the street. I mean, pick any of them. It currently sits at 46, and the new price target from Raymond James is a $55 price target. So that just tells me that people are extremely excited about the reopening play still, and it's not entirely off the table just yet. Anything else? And if not, we'll get to our watch list.
Yeah, NFT
Can
people, NBA Top Shots dropping at 12 PDT.
Yes,
um
sir.
Oh, what was that, Chris?
I
I didn't catch that last part.
They drop at 12 PDT. They're dropping like some classic packs.
Oh,
And
okay.
the
Got
and the kid is ready. Got you. Yeah.
all
Hey,
right, can I
Vanessa.
add something before you move on?
Yeah, go for it.
Um just kind of like a quick reset. If you're not in our club, go ahead and join. I think on Friday we had a conversation about politics, and it was so cool because there was people from all different backgrounds, and we had a productive conversation with no tension, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I think that a lot of you guys in the room would probably enjoy something like that, and we'd probably do it again. So join the club so that way you can be alerted more on in the afternoon.
Awesome. No, that's great. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So with that said, I think we should get into the watch list. We'll have to keep it fairly short because there's a number of us on stage and we don't have too much time. So Christopher, what's on your watch list for today? Give us a price target and an entry.
Okay. Well, as far as price target, I'm actually watching Tesla to break 685 before I do anything.
Eh.
And then if that happens, then I'm riding it to 692. As far as my dip buy on Save, um, I'm looking to get uh 39.14. If I can get filled there, I'll be comfortable with that. Just because it tested all the way down to almost all right, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Almost 38.90. So what I'm looking for is, just really, really low 39s. I'm gonna ride that to 42. Yeah, other than that, I'm watching, Vanessa's correlation to NBA Top Shot dropping the NFT stocks. I'm not playing them. I'm just doing more research and I'm watching them.
Cool. Vanessa, you have anything on your watch list for today?
No, guys, I don't. I'm in love, so I'm gonna be just kidding. I don't have anything. I'm in love with stocks. Bye.
All right. I'll spit two. Grow Generation, GRWG, has earnings, I believe, on Thursday. This has really been a solid company, and I know they're not Constellation Brands approved. However, I've really been following the storyline and liking where they're at in terms of, their growth rate, year-over-year sales, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking to see if we can get an entry on a break above the $55 level, moving towards 65, which was their all-time high, and my stop loss is 48. On the other side, now XPEV. Now, I've actually seen people driving this XPEV car, and it looks great. I'm totally into it. I think the company has legs, and not only that, they're also gaining market share in China. I've seen them in the U.S. People are interested in buying them in the U.S. And this has been a company that I've put on our watch list instead of putting Tesla because it does the sympathy runs. It has a lot of those same exposure points. However, it's just not Tesla, so the volatility isn't quite as extreme. I'd love to see this on a break above, let's say, the $38 level, moving towards 41. I think would be my first price target, and those are two that I'm sort of looking at for the day. Specifically, if Kathy pumps this Tesla one, I can't YOLO on Tesla, but I can buy some sympathy into that. So that's where I'm at. Liv, what are you looking at for the day?
I'm right there with you with Tesla, but I'm also looking at Delta Airlines. I'm looking at an entry point of 47 for today in case it dips, and I would love to see a rip up to 50. And that's it for me.
No, I love that. I'm going to skip down, or sorry, up. Hey, Shivam, what are you looking at for the day?
So I'm looking at three plays. One of them is Boeing. I definitely need Boeing to get some wheels. And if it does, then I'm looking at
He
something
said
around
Boeing getting wings. I'm sorry. They're killing it.
uh, to go to 266, right? Like that is where I feel if it crosses 266, it's gonna run. It's 10 points below that. It's a lot of work to be done, but I'm hopeful that is gonna take care. That is gonna be taken care of. The second one, hopefully, I'll be fourth time lucky. That is LEM Research. I am seeing LEM Research getting some pace. 562 looks possible, or it might have already crossed 562. So that is something which is the second one I'm looking into. And third, Disney. I don't know what the news is. I need to search into it. But Disney should be above 196, 197 in my opinion. It's at 191, 192. So let's see. But I have already made some entries during Friday into all these three when they were a bit lower. So right now, I just need to see whether they start to fly. If all of them start to fly, then probably it will be a good day for me.
Love that. Let's keep on going. Daniel, anything on your watch list for today?
I'm gonna be a DJ and get some Top Shot packs.
Hey, DJing it up. Those top shots, they're worth talking about. We brought it up. Go ahead and cash out, man. Marcus, anything you're looking at for the day?
Yep, I'm looking at. I mentioned yesterday as well. Hall of Fame Resort Entertainment is the NFT play. They're looking to work some deals there with the NFL for NFTs, not fungible tokens. Entry point. It had a big run up Friday, like 50 something percent. So I'm looking to pull it back close to 3. And the other one I was looking at is Phantom Sports FDMSF, and this is an esports play. These are both penny plays, just so you know. So those are what I'm looking at today.
All right, you guys, look, I like NFTs as much as the next person, but do we have to have an entire room and talk about the NFT stock plays? Because they can't all be running, man.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm just playing on the hype.
like,
I mean, I'm not even into it. I'm just playing the hype.
Hey, Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my confession. Yeah, my NFT list is IMTE Leaf and, and YVR. So so if I'm
All
not
right.
getting any packs,
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys, hold on. Let's keep it in control here. AR, if you're gonna say tickers, you got to give us a price target and an entry. So go for it.
absolutely. All right. So IMTE, I'm looking. I'm hoping for an actual nice healthy pullback to around 555 from a support standpoint. It did run about 10%, and during pre-market, it looks like it's taking a little bit of a dip. For Leaf, my levels are about 720, 715, 720. And again, similarly, I feel that the hype is real, right? Just in terms of these being so I'm a long-term buyer in the NFT space. I've done some due diligence, at least in terms of the overall sector, and yeah, I'll be taking the rest of the week to continue to build a watch list, because I personally feel that some of the stimulus money, at least for some, is really being moved into these areas. So
As it
that's
should be. No, we totally agree. Moving on, Fahim, do you have anything you're looking at for the day? In 20 seconds or less.
Nope. I'm just watching. That's it.
I love it. I love it.
I'm on
And
the
Mohammed,
sidelines.
welcome to the stage, man. You kind of came a little bit late. We're just going over the things that we're looking at for today. If you have anything you'd like to share with us, I'd love an entry and a price target. And if not, it's all good.
Can I
Going
just say real
once,
quick that
going
people
twice. No, Christopher, you can't just say real quick. I'm just kidding. Go for it.
people are not like Bitcoin. I mean, people are not liking what Jay Powell is about to have to say so far. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into closing it out. I just don't
Wait,
think people are liking it.
last thing. If you're in the show right now, go over to our Instagram and take a look at the Monday briefing post and like it and share. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We went out of our way to give a great economic calendar, and we made it all, just for today, so you can really catch up and see what's going to happen today. We're going to do the same thing for tomorrow and forever, potentially. So, with that said, let's bust into some affirmations, you guys. I really like giving thanks. I'm thankful for our community. I'm thankful for the conversations that we can have. And I'm thankful for this space, this safe space where I can be a trader who's obsessed with the markets, where I can make both good and bad trades and be welcomed by people that understand and want to talk about this with me. Let's talk about what we are. And here's what I am. I am patient. I'm not in a rush. I'm in control. I have a plan, and I will trade to that plan consistently, and I'll improve on that plan. I am profitable. And not just today, not just yesterday, but consistently profitable. I will not trade on fear. There is no missing out when you're on time. My timing is divine and comes from a place of experience and security. I'm grateful for the volatility in the market, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to create generational wealth for both myself and the people that I love and care about. Thanks so much for joining us, you guys, on stage, everybody in the audience. I hope you have a great trading day, and let's have a nice green moment. This is Stockhouse U, and we are out of here.